Pranam, everyone. Last week, this masterclass was postponed because we had thunderstorms and internet connection was not very stable. Apologies for the inconvenience. I hope the weather is good today. I hope nothing happens and we can sail through this important masterclass in which I'll talk about it's not what you eat, but it's how you eat that uh, defines your health or, in particular, weight loss programs. So, a quick recap. We gave you the root cause last time for weight gain. The root cause for weight gain was lonely. And in order to hide that loneliness, we begin to acquire that weight around our root chakra and Swadhisthana chakra, which is belly and below, to feel stable. And the reason why we do that is because the problem with loneliness is because by design, human beings are connected, interconnected, and they're not lonely. But for whatever reason, we do feel lonely. This is akin to feeling death. That's where this fear of dying is what loneliness gives you, and your survival mechanism will sit up, in your case, if it is weight gain, with the weight. Loneliness leads to depression, loneliness leads to various other things. It all depends on a unique inner process running in each one of us. Now you should understand and ask why and how loneliness leads to weight gain and it fails every attempt you make to lose weight. When you change your diet from the regular one and you embark upon a journey that you want to lose weight, then change in diet does two things for you. A, you are recalibrating your senses, and B, it generates the very same emotions which you are trying to suppress. You feel unstable again. Therefore, weight loss program, in spite of best of the diet and best of the advice, they fail because you're craving versus suppressing the emotion, feeling unstable, it becomes a struggle for you. Often you give up only to start again later. Which you know that there are people who are able to do it. You probably followed those influencers who showed you that they could do it. And you did the same, but you could not do it. Maybe the person you are working with, a coach for weight loss, is able to show you result with other people on same similar diet, same similar discipline, but not you. There's a reason behind that. And that's where we need to decode, which I'm going to share with you. What makes it work for them and why it is not working for you the same thing. From the campaigns, you must have understood the summary before we go into the details of it. The summary is your health, and here you can actually, this program is valid even for people with various form of suffering, including depression, that how with food you can regenerate your body, mind, and emotions. Because your health is a function of actually two things. The food you take, because that's the only foreign element, at least 3 times a day, going inside our body. Nothing else goes inside our body directly. Or the breath you take, which is involuntarily happening to you. You have no control to stop breathing, but you have the free will, knowingly or unknowingly, to regulate it, to suppress it, to change it. And that changes the game. So, two things are the fundamentals to your health. And I will tell you the third one, which is often ignored and neglected, and that is sleep. So, the first thing is digestive system. No matter what you eat, say you want to attain whatever is your diet, rich diet, protein diet, non-veg diet, keto diet, or you name it, regular diet. Let's say you want to attain uh, from lunch, from dinner, and from breakfast uh, a unit of 100 nutrients which should go in bloodstream. Right? I'm making it very layman language, and you can go and Google it. How many calories, carbohydrates, what this means, if you like to go into the details. 100 unit of nutrients based on whatever you eat is not dependent on how rich your diet is. It can it can make it 110, but it can become 80 even if you have a rich diet if you're not breathing properly. Because for digestive system to produce nutrients out of the food you have taken, it requires all lipase energy there. So that's one factor. Now we can talk about it, and we will talk about it. How to ensure that all the breath you take is going towards uh, enabling digestive system to produce 100 or 100 plus units of nutrients. We'll talk about that. The second important parameter again comes is when these nutrients in bloodstream reach every cell through blood, and cellular metabolism is taking place where you know that according to science some 300 million cells of 210 different types are dying every minute and being regenerated. That is cellular metabolism doing the repair. They call it repair, loosely speaking. We call it a regenerative process, and that requires again oxygen. Your breath is the medium. There are other, but those look at intricate. Those are part of the inner journey processes, how internally you dissolve several lifetime, for example, several lifetime of hopelessness, which is stored as carbon. When that is released, it automatically opens up a lot of oxygen to you. But that's very detailed. We don't go into the details. We first get to the fundamentals, which anybody and everybody should be able to effortlessly apply. Now, that oxygen, which is required in cellular metabolism, is optimal during sleep. So, how you sleep defines how good your cellular metabolism is. So, for example, if you take 100 nutrients from bloodstream going to cells, if your sleep is not good, it will not get absorbed in the cells. So, you understand that it's your breath which is influencing your digestive system, it is your sleep which is influencing your metabolism to be able to keep you healthy. These are the simple ones. I encourage all of you uh, to also enhance my wisdom or knowledge by Googling it, going to Grok, or we have all the tools available. And why should you look at this science? Is because a common sense will tell you What keeps you healthy? What keeps us healthy is that if the blood is in optimal quantity, reaching every cell, then there's no way you can ever turn unhealthy, attract a disease, etc., etc. So the whole body mechanism works on the principle that the blood is reaching every cell. And when blood is reaching every cell, it is taking nutrients and oxygen to every cell. Now let's look at the two, three factors which influence your digestive system. For metabolism, we have Sanj.ai, 21 hours of animated web series, which reveals the secrets of sleep, dreams, and nightmares. It's available. You can watch that. But today I focus on digestive system. Also, the previous masterclass available on science of prayer, science of sleep are available on Sanj.ai when you want to consider looking at your sleep, quality of sleep, and that will tell you how your metabolism is. So coming back, what happens? There are two factors which are impacting your breath. You know it when you are angry, you have a very heavy and rapid breath. When you're depressed, it is very shallow. When you're calm and serene, it's very smooth and easy and deep. What's the golden rule? 15 breaths per minute is the healthy thing. Now, here's the thing, everything inside a body is surviving because it takes a part of your breath. So, if you are under stress, if you are hyperactive, what is making your hyperactive survive? The breath you take. A part of it is going to sustain those emotions, and a very little part is left, depending upon the level of intensity of hyperactivity or the bodily function. So you would realize that when you're hyperactive or you're stressed, your energy level go down. Why? Because metabolism is not happening, energy is not being produced. So you say, let me take a break and let me catch a breath. You're right when you say this. And you do the right thing by saying, let me catch my breath. Because then you want to pause the hyperactivity and you want to relax so that the breath rate comes back from 25, 30, 20 breaths to 15 breaths per minute or lower. And then you feel energized. Sometimes you just doze off. Why? Because now this breath needs to be absorbed in the body, which is feeling the fatigue before you are ready to start your day again. So these are beautiful things you do, knowingly, unknowingly. So the impact of emotions on your digestive system is because it is making less and less oxygen available for digestive system. So when that happens, whatever food you have taken, first of all, will take you longer to digest. That's why in the campaign we said, what should you do before eating? What should you do while eating? What should you do after eating? There are rules for everything. Unfortunately, we've forgotten. So we said food shall be like a private act, like the prayers are. Which you don't. I mean, when you flaunt it, it's a different thing. But when you are serious doing sadhana, you do it in silence. So food like prayers is your private act. But you don't need to remember God there. You don't need to do prayers there. But food itself is a devotion. You know what happens to you half an hour, 1 hour before you eat food and you're feeling hungry. You feel so unstable if the food is not inside, or you don't feel sure that you're going to get the food. So imagine amount of emotions it generates inside you. A small amount of uncertainty, delay causes that. So what happens when you eat in silence? The entire life force energy, what is life force energy? What you breathe is your life force, is now available only to the digestive system to give you the optimal nutrients quantity. After food, there's a lot of myth about what you should do after eating. Some people tell you that you should go for a walk. Some people tell you that you should do this, you should do that. You should not sleep after bath, after eating dinner, for example. You shall have dinner 4 hours before you sleep, 3 hours before you sleep. Well, I leave it there. Let me tell you what you should do. If you understand the science, uh, you won't have to follow these instructions blindly, but you can calibrate them, saying what works for you. When you eat food, depending upon how heavy or light it takes you typically from, let's say, idli probably is the best, which gets digested in 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And non-veg probably takes around 4 to 6 hours to get there. That means it takes you this much time to extract nutrients out of the food you have eaten to supply to the bloodstream. What happens if you have heavy meals and you go to work right after eating? Then whatever supply of life force energy was happening in your blood, in the digestive system, is now being diverted into the activity, impacting your digestive system. So stomach related issues, when you say you have, whether you have problem of constipation, certain things you cannot digest, you have food allergies, all these things are effect of not what you eat or what you don't eat, but how bad you eat, because you're very casual about it. Imagine watching TV, screen, mobile, where your attention is onto something which is generating emotions. Those emotions are taking your breath while you're eating your food. By now, you understood what it does. Now, the second damage you do to yourself, where you are very oblivious of your internal system, that is when you leave your choices. When you say, I'm not going to eat, for example, non-veg from tomorrow. I am not going to eat one meal a day. I'm not talking about intermittent fasting. That science I will cover somewhere else in next or next whichever master class. And I will also give away the most effortless uh, fasting which we follow, where you don't give up anything. See, your internal mechanism is that you have inner knowing, intuition, represented by Agniya Chakra, where the women put a bindi or we put a tilak, is basically to keep it activated. When this is active, it regulates your five senses, taste being one of the major ones when we talk about food. Aesthetics too. For example, some people, no matter how rich the food is in nutrients, they can't eat that food even if it tastes good, because aesthetically it doesn't appeal to them, to their eyes, to their senses. So a lot goes in from your senses to absorb what you eat. So when you say you want to give up non-veg from tomorrow, or you're going to give paneer or whatever which doctors say that you shall not eat and you shall have this type of, you are playing with your taste buds, the sense. It immediately tells your sixth sense that there's need to recalibrate because now we are on a mission. A part of your senses need recalibration. What does the intuition feel at that time? Intuition is inner knowing. Inner knowing is respecting the five senses. It says that I have a craving for non-veg, I should eat that. When you tell your inner sense, inner knowing, sorry, and intuition, third eye, that no, listen to me, I don't want to follow you, it shuts off. If your ego, Manipura, resolve is strong, then third eye or intuition shuts off. When it shuts off, it has to numb your senses for some time. As long as your ego or your willpower or your mind is strong, it suppresses an aspect of you. That changes the three gun, sat, rajas, and tamas, the ratio. That changes the five element which you are breathing in every breath. And that changes, of course, your breath rate. So as long as your resolve remains strong and you've eaten, let's say, a vegetarian meal, which otherwise you would have gone for non-veg meal, now the hunger is gone. That means the need is over. Hunger is not disturbing. When the hunger is not disturbing you, the craving bounces back. Why? Because now your need to be strong-willed is not there. So till you have another meal, vegetarian next year, you are struggling for with cravings versus your resolve to lose weight. Check for yourself how many emotions you generate which play havoc with your breath rate, oxygen, and that impacts the sleep, which further impacts your metabolism. So it began with loneliness to be managed, then imposing certain things by playing with the senses, which changes our breath rate. So what you should be doing after eating, you relax for some time. You probably know in old times and even till today, there are traditions. For example, in Italy, people go for a nap for 15 minutes after eating lunch. It's allowed in the world culture. Earlier times when our ancestors used to take a nap after eating. And there's a good reason for that. You tell me one animal who goes for a walk after eating. They all sit down quietly to digest what they have. So all these ideas that after eating food you should not sleep, you should sleep because that is shutting your mind, making your body, making your breath rate come down to your life force energy, come down to your digestive system and also helping in metabolism. And finally, always take 5 to 10% less food than your diet suggests. If not always, at least once or twice. That will keep your desire for food alive, that will keep your senses activated. And rather than overeating, this is a better practice. I said from my example, for last 30, 40 years, unknowingly this I do. I was not aware of it. I was doing it unknowingly. So this comes from my personal experience of 30, 40 years of discipline. So before eating, ground your emotions. Don't get into eating with hyperactivity, finishing the work and right away going and eating. Take a pause for a few moments. Consolidate your day. Connect with your hunger. Then eat your lunch in silence. While eating, you are in silence. No thought. Food is worship. It's because of food you are alive. It's a time 3 times a day where you are doing prayer to your body. Your first duty is towards your body, not towards God or humanity or government or family. If you're healthy, you can serve any one of them. If you're not, well, your service will not bear any fruits, no matter how good you are. And after eating, take a little break. Break doesn't mean that you don't do work. It's just that you're not doing any hyperactivity. You can do your planning work for rest of the day, for rest of the night. You can become aware to plan, I will do this in next 4 hours. Let me take 15 minutes only doing planning right after eating. So that's everything about how you should eat. I have nothing to tell you about whether you should have diets opposing your craving and vice versa. What I'm saying is become aware of the inner process inside you. Those people who showed you success are the people who were aware of their senses, how they are doing, and they operated out of wisdom while you are blindly operating and suppressing your six senses, which in turn impacting your three gun and finally five elements, resulting into change of oxygen available to you for digestive system as well as impacting sleep, which impacts your metabolism. If you have some questions, I'm happy to take them. Else, I request that you watch the first masterclass, which is available on our social media platform. This is the second one, and I'll see you for the third one, where we'll talk about why my mother is the best cook, and you say the same. How women used food as a means of communication, and how you can decode that. Food meditation would be included in that. I will also talk about why wives shall not do the same recipe which their mother-in-law teach them to do for their husband. So I'll pause for a minute, wait for any questions if there is anyone, as I hope it is valuable to you and maybe something you can apply in your life.
So there is a question many people are noticed being a sedentary lifestyle, but people sometimes don't find it.
I will read. So here is a question Many people and doctors blame sedentary lifestyle, but lonely people sometimes don't find the energy or activity. In my first or second masterclass and Sanj.ai, where the animated web series is there, we defined what is lifestyle. Lifestyle is not, so we said, the way we said that, I say it again. Uh, Life begins at dawn, lifestyle begins at dusk. That's where the science of prayer, importance of sleep, regenerative sleep comes. What it means is that it does not matter how you live through the day. What matters is how you live through in the evening. That is lifestyle. Because in the morning till evening, you are just busy doing surviving. Surviving, no matter you sit in a Mercedes, go to office, or you put up a stall by the roadside, both the lifestyles are same. It is a struggle to survive. There's no difference there. That's why even a rich person gets a cancer, while the poor person probably don't get it because in the evening he's chilled out. He has a lifestyle. But a guy who owns Mercedes doesn't have a lifestyle. That means how he should live after evening. So that is one thing. The second thing is it is very well defined in Ayurveda also. Ayurveda also says that the reason why there's a debate happening nowadays between Ayurveda being effective or not, allopathy being effective or not. I do not know why this debate should exist because allopathy was never meant to cure you. It was only supposed to contain your symptoms by giving you a side effect. So there's no comparison between Ayurveda and allopathy. But there's a reason why Ayurveda, which should actually 100% work, doesn't work in most of the cases now is Ayurveda talks about a lifestyle. A lifestyle correction is the first primary condition in Ayurveda. So when Ayurveda gives you food based on Vat, Pitta, Kapha, they are making an attempt to bring changes in your lifestyle. Lifestyle changes means try to align you with nature. Try to align you with nature means they are doing the same thing which I just spoke about, opening up your sixth sense, harmonizing five senses, in turn harmonizing trigun, in turn harmonizing five element, and making breath available for digestive system and metabolism. So the first condition for Ayurveda is to, to bring changes in the lifestyle. So they do that through by telling you stop doing this activity, or they change your diet, then they introduce some herbs, and finally they have their medicines. Where people who go to Ayurvedic Vaidya, they should not call themselves doctor, they should call themselves Vaidya, is they take those medicines like allopathy with pop a pill culture, thinking it will work on its own. It doesn't work that way. You have to become sensitive to nature, your prakriti, which Ayurveda Vaidya is trying to give you that, to make you wise about your prakriti, to change vikriti to prakriti. So if you feel lonely and you don't feel encouraged to do various activities, well, it's not about doing the activities, which I spoke for last half an hour. It's about first awakening your senses inside and finding out why you feel lonely, first of all. Which event in your life triggered that? So you change that by not changing it. And I'm speaking all of it from Sanj.ai animated web series. You watch it, you will know it more in details than what I'm able to speak here. Because that is 21 hours. This I only spoke for half an hour. So no, don't don't feel depressed, don't feel disappointed that you are lonely, A, and because of that, you don't have energy to do various activities. You are in a self-defeating or in a vicious cycle of once again bringing unworthiness to yourself. I think you should stay with one word. Why am I alone? Let's heal that first. Everything else will come. So that's long and short of the question.
So we would like to know from everyone if they can put in the comment like what masterclass they want,
What masterclass?
what topic they want for the masterclass, and they can put in the comments.
So we have a suggestion here. I put it out to you. Let us know on what topic you like to have masterclasses from us, and we will put that in our series and attempt. So now there's no more questions.
No more questions.
No more questions. So thank you everyone for listening today or later whenever this it's available on social media platform. You can watch it anytime.
So if you put your question, the sections can be
And on this, you can put your questions tomorrow, day after, whenever. Be very active on social media. We'll respond. Thank you. Thank you for listening. I hope it was useful. Pranam.